Today is 6th of December 2022. I'm on my laptop, and here's my higher time frame. We're going to talk about today's trades. I took a few trades. Nothing stuck or worked out, but we did have really good understanding about everything, right? So let's talk about it. Higher time frame, we've got a strong mitigation, very strong mitigation here. So we're expecting this to continue to pull down. With this speed and aggression, down here we created transitional order blocks, right? Pushed through this kind of an area here. Let's just change that. One sec, guys. There we go. All right. So we've got this transitional. So as I saw price sort of coming back into this area, I'm very much so expecting a reaction. Where would I expect a reaction from? Probably an order block, right? And so there's actually I think it was a 30-minute or 15-minute, it looked like. Yeah, 15-minute stacking of orders right here that got mitigated there inside of this transitional. So it's logical to think that that actually could be the mitigation, and we could be pulling down for lower prices. So that's what was going through my head. On this one, we're also forming a higher time frame sell primary potential. Okay, so we come up, mitigated, and we're pulling down again. So we could be forming that potential of a lower time frame, higher time frame sell primary, and so we just need to try to identify lower time frame sell primaries to get in on that action. So let's have a little look at really what went on. So it was really just sells all day long, but tricky. You know, it's tricky because they didn't really give me an entry, or didn't give me much of an entry, but I did understand all of this. So right when we're at the very top, right here, right, 8:12, this is PST, I see this. I see all of this going on up here, and I think to myself, this is probably where we're going to turn around. But the way I trade, I wait for sell primaries. I'm strict. I'm good with I'm good with what I say I'm going to do. And so even though I felt that this was a great time to sell, I didn't do it. It goes against my kind of internal rules. I always look for sell primary or buy primary, and always want to trade off of those. It's just higher probability, right? This could have easily kept going long too. But anyway, let's have a little talk about what I did see, right? So we've got this range here, range initiation. Breaker structure was weak, and then they came back up to create this primary. Price never ever came back into here, plus it's a 15 seconds. So I'm not actually thinking at this time that this was a sell primary. I was just thinking this is just a sell OB, just a range initiation, breaker structure. Wasn't really putting much weight on this. Then we start initiating, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I do see this form. I see a small range here, and then I see this breaker structure, and I see price come up over the top of it and break down. That's my bread and butter. That's my bread and butter trade right there. So immediately I'm thinking, well, regardless of what's going on up here, this looks like a damn good setup, so I want in, right? So I go for an entry, place my stop where I think it's safe, 2 pips, right? And we never ever get that re-entry. We get a tiny little, I don't want to do it with my mouse because it keeps coming up with that thing, but get this kind of little re-entry in, that one blue candle that goes in and then shoots down. So I missed out on that, but understood intention, understood what was going on, really wanted in. And so now I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't think we're going to initiate that aggressively. We're likely to get, this could be built for cause. Maybe we're going to come back up into this area. You know, I haven't got at this time right here this kind of mentality that we're just going to keep initiating away like we did. And so when we do initiate away like this, we just got to look for lower time frame shit. That's like literally 5 seconds, 15 seconds. That's all you can do, because they do the same thing over and over and over again, but it's just on a very minute, microscopic look. So here it is. Here's a range, breaker structure. And I mean, we're talking like minute stuff here. Look at this tiny little range, tiny little breaker structure. Then they zip up, boom, come back in. And then we get this reaction, right? And so I've got my entry right at the top. I want in. I want to get my stop safe. But because of that one reaction, I'm not willing to take a risk entry anymore, because we had that one reaction in and then pulled away. So I'm like, well, I've got to wait for price to come back up to here and then I'm going to sort of see what it does before I kind of make a decision on whether I'm going to get back in or not, or try to get back in, or try to get in, I should say. Sorry. And so this one didn't work out, right? Price never came there. But following intention, I'm understanding everything, and then we see all of this just initiating away. And I don't really see much of anything here, to be quite honest with you. Maybe there's something on the 5 seconds. Maybe there is a break of structure here. Maybe this was the range, and maybe this is the sell primary, and I could have traded off it. But it's so minute. And like I said, I wasn't really expecting this initiation away to be so aggressive. And I wrote this, like, by the time we're down here, I wrote, we're initiating away, creating cause. Like, there's no two ways about it. We're not, yes, we're range, initiation, mitigation, continuation, but we're not really giving us really good-looking primaries forming, right? So we're definitely coming back up. Like, there's no two ways about it. We're either going to form a new primary that's quite large, and that's going to hold price, or we're actually going to come back up to this one right here. We're going to come back up to the actual Mac Daddy, the origin of all origin, right, which is up here. All of this little tiddly stuff is just for cause for future. So I definitely believe we're coming back up here, or we're going to, like I said, put in a big one, and that will hold price. So anyway, we come up here, we start to nibble into that cause. I notice what we mitigate. It's a weak mitigation, and I'm written this like I don't want to just jump on this as a sell because it was such a weak mitigation. And then we start pulling away, forming that sell primary. It didn't form very fluidly, like it didn't like start pushing down and then come back in. It just broke it just a little bit and then comes back in, forms a second primary, a miniature third primary, a fourth primary, a fifth primary. And so that was interesting. But what I found the most interesting is that this connects, these two don't connect at all. These two connect. So I'm in a state of a little sort of confusion. And what I would say by confusion is actually looking for buys. I'm looking for reasons to buy here because it's like, yes, this is definitely sell primaries, but they're creating cause and in a weird way. In a way that I don't typically understand because I'm used to seeing them connect their primaries together, not space them out like this, like they did. And they came very close on both times here, that they very close to touching. So what does that mean to me? I believe that that means cause. So it could actually be that this right here is going to become cause, and this is going to hold as a mitigation. It could mean something like that. Definitely something's going on. So anyway, this was a trade I finally caught. So we're pulling away, and I finally see that we've got this range initiation. There's a breaker structure over here on the left, and we pull up to create this sell primary. And where was it? I entered right here on the formation down. I was able to get in on the way down because I saw what I needed to see. It wasn't that I entered off of a primary, but it was like the expectation of what I was looking for. And I got that range initiation, breaker structure, right here, this little guy right here, range initiation, breaker structure. And I'm thinking to myself, do I need to come back here? And the answer was no. So as soon as I saw, and I'm on a 5 second, let's go to see how I was trading this. And as soon as I see, let me pull it up so it's nice and clear. 5 second candles. Low, 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 low. As soon as I saw that low get taken on that 5 second candle, I'm in. Because that is a change in character. That is a change of momentum, a shifting. I can see that we're initiating away. My 2 pip stop covers a massive amount of distance in this scenario with a 5 second chart. So I was quite interested in getting into that one. And I got into it and I got a nice little movement away. But immediately I write this to myself. We're pulling down into a lower time frame double buy primary. Let's show you that. I'm sure I would have left it drawn on. Maybe I didn't. Pretty sure this arrow represents where we stopped. So we've got a buy primary. Let's see. Maybe it wasn't where we stopped. Maybe this was just like the weak mitigation or something like that. Okay, let's do this. Let's actually find it, because I know for a fact it exists. So it's right here. And we're gonna go arrow. Just give me a second. So let's see where that is. I do not like working on my laptop. I do not like it. Okay. Range. Initiation. Comes back in, takes the liquidity, forms a buy primary. Right? There was the bottom one. Now, what else was I seeing? Here's a range. And this comes into this buy primary, right? Range, break a structure, take structure, comes in. And maybe it was this too? Maybe it was this. Yes. Okay, so I don't think it was this first low, right? I think it was actually the other low. I think these were the two buy primaries. We had this one and this one that I saw. So I was like, okay, so we've got range, initiation. They come in, they take the liquidity, right? Let's just see one here. A buy primary that formed. This took liquidity from the buy primary, right? And then there's one stack down here. So I think this is actually what I was looking at. Something like this anyway. And so I see that, anyway, you can clearly see there's buy primaries in this area, right? And they form right very, very low. So having that knowledge, right, of where we've stopped was interesting to me, because I'm like, this is where you see reactions from. Is buy primaries all the time, lower time frame ones. So we're pulling down into a lower time frame double buy primary, which is what I saw at the time. Chances are we're going to get a reaction. I have to go and go break even to protect myself. We've got that weak mitigation above, right here. We've got this weak mitigation above, lots of liquidity above, and we've got reasons in which we could bounce, right? And so I go break even. Hindsight is freaking 2020. I doubt I would have been able to hang in with my spreads and everything with this one anyway, but if I'd have covered the high here, I would have been able to hang in, but I didn't. Anyway, so again, we get range, here's a range, break a structure, comes back in and breaks on itself. So here's another sell primary. And I'm thinking right now to myself, this is where I'd want to enter. I mean, it's 10:30 right now. I'm done for the day. And so I didn't get any continuation. I didn't get any return up here to give me an opportunity into the market. But this is where I'd be looking for, just to continue the short selling here. But I did take a buy. And let's go over and have a little look at that. So here was the first one, actually. I took actually a loss on this one, right? So this was what I saw. Oh man, where is it? Maybe it was on 5 seconds even. Gosh, I just want my big screen. I don't want to be faffing around with this tiny little thing. This was harder to see. There it is. Range, right there. Initiation, break a structure, 5 seconds. Comes back in, boom. And why did I take that? I didn't allow the buy primary to form, but I was suspicious of it because of the location that happened, right? And so I immediately got spanked out of this one, right? It was just, it is what it is. It was we were aggressively bouncing from here. It looked like a good mitigation, breaker structure, all the rest of it. So I'm just looking for a lower time frame sell primary, and then I'm going to get in. This is most likely the sell primary, or the buy primary, I should say, or it could have been from here. But I guarantee you that one of these was for a moment, a buy primary. And then as it comes down in and spanks me and takes me out, immediately I'm thinking to myself, that's interesting. I wonder what the purpose of this was then. What was the purpose of this? Was this to turn into sells? Is this the handing over of sells? And sure enough, it pretty much is, right? We can sort of see that now, that here's a sell primary that's sort of formed. Lower time frame for sure, but a sell primary because we've got range, initiation, breaker structures, come back up, take it. And it was the passing over of batons, as I like to call it. Oh, Jesus, sorry. So there's that buy primary that hands over into becoming a sell primary, and it's sort of from that high, and from that low, it transitions over. So it's like the handing over of money. And then whether or not it hangs in there and holds or not, that's another story, right? But I'm always looking for this sort of breaker structure. Anyway, I see what's going on. I like this order block a lot. I'm thinking to myself, we're still inducing buying from this point. So I do get an entry here and hold for a few seconds, then go break even. Just didn't like it at all. So that was a break even, and that was a loss, and that was my buyings. But hindsight, you know what? If I'd have seen this in the moment, I didn't even see this in the moment. This to me is a very low time frame, 5-second thing, and by the time I'm done with 5 seconds, if I'm on the edge of a trade, I'll go to 5 seconds. But when I'm inside, looking at price, scalping for an opportunity, really, change my eyes to that kind of mentality, I'm always on the 15 seconds. So that's why I didn't see this sell primary form, because I didn't see any range over here. But now I can see that wick. It's just very low time frame. But it does make sense, doesn't it? Like buy primary turns into a sell primary, and that becomes the new high and the initiation away. So there's my trades for today. Not the best at all, but I did understand what was going on. I understood the market mechanics. Sorry for the noises in the background. That's my little doggy. She's with me today, my little Chihuahua, and she's making some licking noises and stuff like that. She's doing good. But yeah, all is well. Tomorrow we'll hit the markets again, and we're gonna see what we can produce. But all in all, pretty good day of learning, good day of following intention, and just getting following the intention, understanding what was going on is just really the goal here at the moment. And so all is well. I really felt like I did pretty good with my understanding. So aloha to anyone watching, and have a wonderful day.